One Piece chapter 963, Becoming Samurai. So this is a great chapter. Definitely the best of the flashbacks so far. And I just want to talk about a few select things in this one. So let's get into it. So first of all, Kawamatsu is confirmed to be a fishman, and that just clears up that big question that we've had this whole time. Like, is the Kappa a real thing? Is that like a race? No, it's not. He's just a fishman, and yes, he does have a tragic backstory. He was mercilessly persecuted just like the rest of the fishmen. We went all through that through their arc. Another thing is that when Yasui is giving the money to the scabbards, this is actually what we see back in 943, right after Yasui gets executed, except this time we're seeing Kawamatsu and Denjiro filled in, and before they weren't, because, you know, we didn't get their reveal yet. And another thing is that, like, we're getting such great development on all of the scabbards here, and it just makes me think that, like, I don't think one of them is the traitor, because if it is, that's really sad because of how great they are here and how unlikely it seems that any of them would be the traitor in the end. So I'm thinking that at this point, you know, it's probably Shinobu, just taking a guess, because she was originally in the Oniwabashu and she was under Fukurokuju, and allegedly she left because, you know, he betrayed Oden, but maybe that's not the case. She has been kind of suspicious. So, of course, she did help them escape from Kaido, you know, earlier on, but then she was acting really suspicious with Sanji a couple chapters back about, like, trying to not get him to get those dudes out of the lockup that they were in. So, given the circumstances and the developments in this chapter, maybe it's her, you know? I mean, there's also a possibility that there just is no traitor, but I'm just going to assume that if there is, I hope it's her, because, like, if it's one of them, it's really going to be sad. Also, Denjiro is starting to change as he gets older, and he's starting to look more like Kyoshiro, at least in my opinion he is. And then one of the panels we get here, the dialogue above him says, "A servant's duty is to protect their master." Now, I know this is just narration, and the dialogue could pertain to all of the scabbards, but it's specifically above Denjiro's head. And one of the lines that I remember specifically from Kyoshiro was when, like, he defends Orochi and he's like, "I am Orochi's guard dog." So I think that might be putting 2 and 2 here and, like, showing that, yeah, he's probably Kyoshiro. I mean, like I always say, and everyone else, the intro to Wano in the anime pretty much confirms that he is. All we're just waiting for is official confirmation, but just, you know, something to look at here. So let's get to the big moment of this chapter, and that is Whitebeard shows up to Wano, and this is awesome. This is such a great moment. Whenever we get, like, big significant moments in history like this, it's some of the best portions of the series, in my opinion. I know everyone else pretty much agrees with that. Like, the whole God Valley reveal, one of the biggest moments in the fandom in like the last decade, pretty much. So let's go over some statistics just from this big 2-page spread of the awesomeness of the Whitebeard pirates here. So Whitebeard is 44 here, so take that for what you will. He's probably still ridiculously powerful. Maybe he's number 2 to Roger at this point in time, possibly. You know, maybe they're still at the top of the food chain, more or less. And if not, I think he's probably top 5 in the world. Just taking a guess. He is Whitebeard, and this is, you know, there has been some significant time since Rox has disbanded. It's been about 9 years, give or take, so I'm sure he's exceptionally powerful at this point. Like, you know, Yonko, what we consider Yonko level, just taking a guess. And then we see young Marco here. Given that, pretty sure Marco's 45, at least from what his Beaver card says. He's 15 here. And then the woman here, I'm sure most of you have put 2 and 2 together and figured out this is probably Whitey Bay. She was, of course, originally with Whitebeard, and then she probably just left them to make her own corresponding crew. And I really like the use of observation hockey in this sequence, because, like, Whitebeard can already sense Oden from, like, far away. And of course, you know, given how much development we've had on Oden here, and we get a real good understanding of his character, and he's very likable, of course, we could tell that, like, he'd be super interested that like Whitebeard's crew has showed up here. It just gives so much depth to the world, because it's like, yeah, we just established that like Oden and his whole story has just played out in these last 3 chapters. And then he also exists in this world that has already been established. And Whitebeard is out there, and now they're joining. And it's like, yeah, it totally makes sense that he would be excited to go join them. And he runs up, and the whole moment here is just epic, because it's like, it's showing us so many things. It's like Whitebeard is legitimately concerned about Oden. And like I was saying earlier, Whitebeard probably Yonko level at this point. Or at least somewhere around there. And given that Oden is clashing with him, it makes me think that Oden is way more powerful than I originally gave him credit for in my previous review. And also another little correction I want to make is that I wasn't sure if Oden had Haki. He definitely does. He actually used it against the mountain boar. I wasn't aware of it at first because I didn't notice that his swords were covered in it. But after further examination, he definitely does have it. And yeah, in this display right here, we're seeing armament and a clash of conquerors, which is pretty awesome. Like, them just clashing is like blowing away like some of Whitebeard's crew just from the aftershock of it. It's pretty cool. And given that Whitebeard is like legitimately, like, it seems like he's concerned or worried about the power that Oden is displaying here, he's probably ridiculously powerful. So what I think is going to happen after this in the next chapter is Whitebeard's probably going to prove that he is the stronger of the two. Like, he's probably going to put Oden down or something like that. Not kill him, and not try to kill him or anything like that. Just like show him who's boss, and then he'll be like, yeah, you can join me. Because how can you just deny somebody that this powerful out of nowhere, and then they want to willingly join you? So I think that's going to happen, and then we're eventually going to see, you know, Roger steal him away from Whitebeard. But this also goes into like how strong Kaido must be, because Oden's like 29 here. He's going to fight Kaido in 10 years. So obviously he's more powerful at that point. So either Kaido is just, you know, absurd, like an absurdly absurd of all absurds, or there was some kind of shenanigans going into the fight that allowed him to defeat Oden. Maybe Oden like sacrificed himself for the greater good or something like that, or maybe Orochi played a part in it, because Orochi, it seems like he poisoned Oden's dad in this chapter, and it seems like he did. So maybe, you know, he did something to allow Kaido to win, or Kaido is just that ridiculously powerful that he can even beat dudes like this. But we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see what plays out in this flashback. It will eventually... unfortunately. End on a sad note with, you know, Oden getting taken out by Kaido. But it's going to be a pretty good ride until we get there. So let me know what you thought about this chapter, guys. Where do you think Whitebeard and Oden are right now at this point in their powers? And if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon that gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you.